seems that made in India Covaxin has come to rescue in India's fight in battling the new COVID strain, which has added another concern to the devastating COVID second wave. However, Bharat Biotech has stated that its COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin, has been found to be effective against COVID strains which were found in India as well as the United Kingdom. Citing a study published in peer-reviewed medical journal Clinical Infectious Diseases, the Hyderabad-based vaccine major has noted that vaccination with Covaxin produced neutralizing titers against all key emerging variants tested, including B1.617 and B1.1.7, which was first identified in India and the UK, respectively. The study was conducted in collaboration with the National Institute of Virology as well as the ICMR, it added. Joining us to look at this story in greater detail is Padma Shri Dr. Mohsin Wali, cardiologist and physician. We also have Dr. M.C. Mishra, former director AIMS, joining us live. Dr. Anil Arora, Chairman Institute of Liver Sciences at Ganga Ram Hospital, is also joining us live. Dr. Rahul Bhargav, Principal Director, Fortis Memorial Research Institute, Gurugram, is also with us on the program. Welcome all of you and thank you for being with us. Dr. Mishra, let me begin with you first. Now, it seems that Bharat Biotech has referred to this new study to actually say that Covaxin seems to be helping the fight against the Indian and UK variants, which are found to be much more virulent and much more infectious. What is your reaction to this claim of theirs?
This has been known already. Publication, when it happens, there is a lag of 3 months almost when you publish a paper after having done some work. So if you remember, when in January, Covaxin was approved on 2nd of January, and people raised a lot of doubt about Covaxin, that how it has been approved without full phase 3 trial data is still available with us. And Mr. Krishna Ella came on television with tears and all that. Some emotions were also running high at that time. And he said that this vaccine also works against mutations. And they say we'll come out with that data very soon. So they did that in January itself. And then they conducted this study, which has been now published in Journal of Infectious Disease, which they have tweeted. I think their Suchitra Ella, I think his daughter or somebody has shared the link of that publication also. So it's a good news. We knew all along that since it is a whole virion vaccine, it would be better than many other vaccines because of the nature of vaccine itself. It's a conventional technology which has stood test of time. All these 50, 60 years of vaccination history across the globe against many pathogens. So that is a good news and also will give more confidence. The only issue is that the doses are not enough to be vaccinated if people choose to get vaccine, Covaxin. And that is where the challenge lies for Mr. Krishna Ella, how they will ramp up the production, which they will by July and August to 3-4 times than now what they are producing. But I think they'll have to scale it up further. And as I was reading in the news link which Harsh sent me, that Dr. Vinod Paul also has discussed with Mr. Krishna Ella about this, and they are willing to partner with others for ramping up this production. I think there is a Bangalore unit has been announced that they'll come. Mumbai also, they are going to set up something, but then naturally these things will take time. It is not going to happen in 2-3 months time. It will happen because now these vaccines will be used repeatedly year-on-year basis, and they'll have to come up and tweak these vaccines against mutations, whatever mutations will be seen in coming time. So it's like any flu shot which we get every year. So the COVID vaccine will be like that, and we'll all have to take, because we can't take chances against COVID. Flu shot we never bothered to take. At least I have never taken that vaccine yet in my life, but this vaccine we cannot avoid. So we'll have to take a booster whenever we'll be told to take 8 months, 10 months or 12 months, we'll have to do that. So that is where we are. Let's hope our situation regarding availability of doses, combined all vaccines would improve from July onwards, And till that time, we have to put up with the doses available to us, 8.5 crores in May, 9.5 crores in June. And that is the only thing which will bring us out of this pandemic. And the world will also want that to happen, because India is a large country with large population. So unless India gets controlled, world will not be as safe as we would want. So I think it is incumbent upon all the governments around the world to ensure that most countries get equal distribution of vaccines produced by us and others.
It's quite interesting, the trajectory, Dr. Arora, of this homegrown vaccine, from people being quite skeptical of taking it to now actually studies claiming that it's the most effective against this new Indian strain and this new UK variant as well. The trajectory has been very interesting. How do you react to it, and the fact that this made in India vaccine is actually now becoming the most sought after?
Yeah, I think let me quote Kiran Majumdar, what she said in the morning yesterday, that the vaccination in India against COVID is just like a arranged marriage. It is a beautiful quote. I just want to repeat that. She said that a young man initially was not ready to get married. Then when he wants to get married, he doesn't find the suitable match. And then when he wants a suitable match, you cannot get anyone. That is precisely the story of COVID vaccination in India. When the vaccination started in India on 15th January, most of us people were reluctant to take the vaccine. And by the time they realized the utility, because of the published trial from US and UK, that you cannot survive without having a good vaccination up your biceps. So people then started realizing the utility. And by the time we finished up vaccinating our population of 45 and beyond, people were reluctant. And by the time we opened it up for 18 to 45 years, there is no vaccine, as Dr. Mishra said. The major difference between the Indian-made COVID vaccine, Covaxin versus the Covishield, which is a AstraZeneca product, is that it gives you, as Dr. Mishra said, a whole virus. Whole virus will contain a multitude of proteins against which the body reacts. If you selectively pick up one mRNA, which is a part of the virion, or one spike protein, which is only a minuscule component of the total virus, obviously the immunity against which the body reacts, the immunity against which the body generates the response, may not be adequate. So wholesome virus, which is a time-tested strategy, is of proven benefit. This is something which people had been knowing of even for the last 2 months. And I again will agree with Dr. Mishra, this was known to us as physicians prior to the publication of the results. Second thing is Covishield had its own problem of altering the goalposts midway through their trial. In addition, there have been a number of side effects reported with Covishield, and hence general public also wanted more of Covaxin, which has been now substantiated by the publication which has come up only yesterday.
Okay. Dr. Bali, your reaction, of course, to this study, its findings, which have been quoted by Dr. Ella of Bharat Biotech, but also the fact that interestingly now, when it's become the most sought after, unfortunately, it has the least doses to offer to various states as well.
Yes, I will agree with you. And as both of my honorable panelists have said in earlier statements, Dr. Mishra and Dr. Arora, my first worry is how to get adequate number of vaccines for the people who are coming out, queuing up for vaccines. And at some stations, they are told we don't have enough vaccines. So this is the first priority. And I'm again happy that while naming one strain and the Indian strain in UK, they have found, at least in their most virulent strain of this virus, and they have conducted actual studies, neutralization factor they have shown, and in the material you have sent, and also the 617 they are still considering most dangerous. So now the situation in UK is that they are satisfied with their vaccination program. Number two, cost factor is also very important. In all these countries, they are very careful about the cost factors in everything of their life. So they are very mindful that if they get this vaccine, that is why they have boosted up their confidence in this vaccine. And Mr. Allah is very, very emotionally attached to this vaccine's production, as well as with the reputation of this vaccine, that he went up to saying that my 6-year-old child, if he gets into trial or he gets a vaccine shot, I think it is the daughter for which he was talking, and I will happily give it. So he's confident. This is very important.
Yeah.
Cost of reducing for everybody should not be shaken by the things happening around, and people's acceptability for co-vaccine right from the beginning is very good. I would agree with this. And number 3, we should have more production, and you know, investment to these producers should be given in liberal basis, either from our government or from outside. Only then they can produce, because they have taken loans from the bank, and also they have to supply accordingly and get the payment, and the cost disparity also comes somewhere in between the vaccination and the production. So this cost disparity should be attended to, and I would be very happy to see going down, as Dr. very much doubt. So many people ask all of us every day that which vaccine we should take out of the available 2 vaccines. And now Sputnik coming in, we are very hopeful that there should be a healthy competition between the 2. And depending upon the availability, which is again I would point out is the biggest factor, we should go in and have the vaccine. And the site for vaccination, that site should not be shown as blocked. You see, many people are getting disheartened when they sit down on the computer and there is no slots available. So it should be open for a long period of time. It should be kept open for a long period of time, so that it doesn't dishearten the person. You see, very few people are using computers in our country. Villages, nobody is using. And we should then, when I talk of villages, we should be concentrating very soon we should be concentrating to the villages. What we have to do, as Dr. Arora was saying, vaccine is the optimal solution, ultimate solution. And in villages, we are getting great numbers. Yesterday, I told in your program, we had some numbers from Uttarakhand, which was very much dangerous. And also, it was more in children. So we have to be careful for both these population, younger population and village population, and find out the quickest solution to attend on to that. Situation in the metropolis, in larger cities, is of course heartening, and we could not say to rejoice, but it's little better, and we should keep ahead in this direction, what measures we are taking, and in the village also our attention should not go diluted.
Dr. Arora, you know, it's of course important also to inform the public of the merits of this vaccine, particularly in the rural areas where now you know, the disease spread is getting even more wider with each passing day. Obviously, there needs to be a sustained campaign, particularly in the rural areas, to tell them about how the COVID-19 vaccine actually will help prevent serious infection, and how this vaccine-induced immunity really plays out in layman's language for them.
Yeah, I would fully agree with you. If you see all over the world, the only mantra to save yourself today, and has been very well established with excellent trials all over the world, is vaccine, vaccine and vaccine alone. But if you look at the logistics, forget about the villages, we do not have the vaccines available in the prime areas of the cities of Delhi. If you look at the consumption which we have vis-a-vis demand, there is a huge gap between supply and the demand. Theoretically, even if we vaccinate on an average 100 lakh people daily, it will be on 31st December, we'll be able to vaccinate 80% of our population, which is good enough for herd immunity. At the moment, we are able to do not more than 15 lakhs vaccination per day. As Dr. Mishra and Dr. Wali very correctly said, we need to ramp up our production. So why should we be dependent on other countries to fund our infrastructure and the manufacturing abilities? Why shouldn't the government give them an excellent loan? See, if you look at the Pfizer and Moderna, these people have had the big grants in terms of billions of the dollars from the US, from the European Union, from Canada and Japan for manufacturing and supply of the vaccine to their respective countries. We had a very meager contribution, only 1,700 crore to Serum Institute of India and 1,200 crore to the Bharat Biotech company. Why couldn't we give them more? So this is our baby. We should nurture it well so that we have a huge amount of the vaccine. That is the first part of your question. Secondly, regarding the education to masses, I think first and foremost is we, as you rightly said, our site is not available even to the people who are literate. Forget about majority of the people in the rural area who may not be well read in English. They are not used to looking at the app, filling in the various parameters which is needed for registration, and the app is available only in English.
Yes.
If Google can give you multiple options of searching the engine, Bengali, Urdu, Hindi, Sanskrit, why can't our application give at least another language which is our native language? So that is a minimum we should do. If we give it a simple version of even an offline registration, which can be done by people, some individuals in the community which are educated, we can cross many hurdles. It's not that the people are reluctant. I think we have the logistics problem which should be handled early. Otherwise, we are going to lose a lot of people with young lives who can be saved easily.
Dr. Rahul Bhargav, let me bring you in here as well on the Covaxin efficacy against these new strains which are becoming the most virulent. This strain which is being referred to as the Indian variant abroad, and also the UK variant which originated in the United Kingdom, which a lot of people believe was actually responsible for spreading this second wave because of its virulent nature and also its infectious nature. How effective is Covaxin against these new strains? How do you react to the studies being cited by Bharat Biotech? And how much can this vaccination drive really, bring down infections and hopefully have a much less severe third wave?
Uday, thanks for having me on the show. It's very heartening to see that the Covaxin has come up with a much awaited data about these variants being still amenable to vaccine. So this public at large needs to feel safe that if you wear a mask and you are vaccinated, whatever variant come by, you are going to get protected. So that's very, very heartening, because there's a doubt in people's mind that what is going to happen whether it's a double mutant. I'm not going to call this as an Indian variant. It's just a double mutant. I would categorically say it's a double mutant, which is still amenable. And we have seen over vaccines, whether with Pfizer, whether with Moderna, you see a South African variant, you see a Brazilian variant, you see a UK variant. All seems to be amenable to vaccination at the present moment of time. Whether they are 15 times infective, whether they are 5 times infective, let's understand what we need to do to break that chain. And the chain can only be broken by giving vaccination to people at least one dose. So I'm bringing in a concept of a one dosing at least. If you see a paper from Washington Post, which is published on 9th of April from Monica Gandhi, which talks about, she's an epidemiologist from US, talks about at least vaccinating 40% of your people with one dose with an efficacy of 80-85% will still be enough to bring down the disease load and will not be heading for a third wave. What is more important for people who is viewing your channel is if you wear a mask and you get vaccinated, either Covishield, Covaxin, they are wonderfully protected from every variant known until 17th of May 2021. And this paper has been a welcome move because people have been asking, because it's a killed vaccine, it's not an mRNA or it's not an adenovirus-based vaccine. People have been asking whether inactivated vaccine has been able to provide that durable efficacy against all these variants, and that has put on the rest to all the speculation. So congratulations to scientists who have worked really hard to bring about this relevant information to us. But what we require more from Covaxin right now, how efficacious is their first dose? Because we know that the Pfizer is 70% times more efficacious at one dose. Covishield is around 70 to 75% efficacious with one dose. We have seen Sputnik Light coming up at 70 to 80%. So we see the first dose efficacy is now being shown by many of the vaccines, and we need to have that kind of data from Covaxin. But this will go a long, long way. As the mutants are going to keep on coming up, we know the virus is going to stay with us. The mutations are going to be a part of our life. Until that point, we know that the mask and the vaccines gives you 100% efficacy against any variant which may come by.
Okay, Dr. Mishra, how will we ramp up manufacturing capacity further of the vaccines that we currently do have in India to get the doses out? Because while yes, Covaxin now is the most effective according to this study, but it still has the least amount of doses as compared to Covishield. Sputnik is even more less when it does come into the market. How do we ramp up capacity? How do we get more and more doses out to the public, Dr. Mishra?
So there is already a plan by both Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech. Bharat Biotech is already working a manufacturing plant in Bangalore. They sought some land in Maharashtra, which has been granted already. And also they are expected to give us 750 million doses by December. 550 million we'll have from Covaxin. Naturally, Serum Institute has the biggest capacity. They can also increase this capacity and they ask for some funds which have now been given. If these funds were given a little earlier, but I think let's not get into why they did not get it earlier, why was it not given earlier. No point in getting into all that controversy. Now they have been given these funds, plus there is also a price tag attached to all the vaccines, so they'll keep getting recurrent funding from that sale of their vaccines on a regular basis. Now what I was told that Sputnik vaccine has already fixed up a price tag on that. Zydus is very soon, you will hear they are coming with that, and by December they'll give us 1.5 crore vaccines. Their vaccine also, it is initially 3-dose vaccine, DNA vaccine, first time, like mRNA vaccine in USA. It's a DNA vaccine which has 3-dose vaccine, but they are also under trial for 2 doses. So by the time we get into July or August, their results for 2 doses will also be available. So maybe we'll end up with 2-dose Zydus vaccine as well. So it will also give us this and then nasal vaccine of Bharat Biotech. That is also supposed to come very quickly now. That will also be available from July, August onwards. And then Sputnik, of course, the capacity of Sputnik is not so much. But Reddy's are trying their hard to partner with some people who can manufacture this and also do some kind of a tweaking, that 1 dose of Sputnik, another dose of Covishield. This trial is on at the current period. And that is something will also help. That suppose we have more doses of Covishield, less doses of Sputnik. So can we combine with that? This trial is already on somewhere in Europe. And I'm sure we'll be in a much better position.
Point taken, Dr. Mishra. We've run out of time, unfortunately.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.